Hi everyone, in this video we're going to be looking at Australian cities, in particular cities inside Queensland. The purpose of this video is this is intended as a training aid for cloud staffers. If you don't work for cloud staff, that's okay, you're still welcome to use this material, and remember, cloud staff is always looking for great staff who want awesome jobs, so please visit www.cloudstaff.com and apply today for a great job at cloud staff. Okay, Queensland cities. These are the major cities inside Queensland: Brisbane, Gold Coast, Sunshine Coast, Townsville, Cairns, Toowoomba, Rockhampton, Mackay, Bundaberg, Hervey Bay, and Gladstone. We'll be going through and looking at each of these cities, and specifically we'd want you to become familiar with how do you pronounce them. Words like Toowoomba are probably a little bit strange, so practice them yourself and listen to how we pronounce them. Let's start off with Brisbane. Brisbane has a population of 2.1 million people, and it's the capital city of Queensland. This is basically where all the government runs from. It was established in 1825 as a penal colony. A penal colony is basically a prison for the colonial era of Australia. It was recognised as a city in 1902. Cloudstaff has its office in Brisbane, located at a suburb called 8 Mile Plains. Brisbane's economy, besides Cloudstaff, is supported by a diverse range of industries, including IT, financial services, government administration, manufacturing of paper, petroleum, metalworking, and tourism, and a whole range of education as well. It's a very popular location for the larger universities such as University of Queensland, Griffith University, Queensland University of Technology, and several other major universities there. The Gold Coast. The Gold Coast is a region which is south of Brisbane. It's about 100 kilometres south. Inside the Gold Coast, you'll hear names such as Surfers Paradise, Broadbeach, Burleigh Heads, Coolangatta, Tweed Heads. Tweed Heads is a little bit different. It's actually in New South Wales, but it's right next to Coolangatta. The Gold Coast is approximately 60 kilometres long. It's some of the world's best beaches, and a lot of people go there for tourism. It's dominated by theme parks, high-rise accommodation, and a whole range of different tourism events, including a number of Cloudstaff customers are based in the Gold Coast because it's a pretty fabulous place with restaurants and sun and beach and surf. If you were driving from the Cloudstaff office, it would take you about 1.5 hours, or 2 and 3 hours if it's in peak. There is a train service. Most of your managers wouldn't actually take the train. The train tends to stop at some more inland train stations, and then you have to catch a bus to get to the more popular areas. There is also an airport called Coolangatta. The airport code for that is OOL. It's a smaller airport, and again, you wouldn't jump on a plane from Brisbane to Coolangatta because there's no flights. You would tend to either rent a car at the airport or drive, or sometimes you might take a taxi, but most people in Australia would be more comfortable with renting a car and driving. It's a lot cheaper. If you're flying out of Coolangatta, there's a number of flights to Asia, but again, it would be a smaller sort of airport. It's not as large as Brisbane Airport. The Sunshine Coast. Sunshine Coast is north of Brisbane by about 160 kilometres. You'll hear region locality terms such as Noosa, Coolum, Maroochydore, Alexander Headland, and Mooloolaba. These are all suburbs or beach locations within inside the Sunshine Coast. As I mentioned, it's located north of Brisbane. It's also very popular from tourism, and there are some wonderful beaches, national parks, and many tourism attractions such as Steve Irwin's Australia Zoo, Aussie World, and there used to be one called the Big Pineapple, but it's now closed. Sunshine Coast also produces a lot of tropical fruit, pineapples, gingers, and different citrus fruits, etc. If you're in the Cloudstaff office in Brisbane and you needed to get to the Sunshine Coast, typically you'd drive. It's about 2.5 hours. There's no trains up that way, and again, there is a small airport called Sunshine Coast or Maroochydore. The airport code is MCY. But again, there are no flights from Brisbane to Maroochydore. It's too short a distance. However, if you wanted to travel from Sydney or Melbourne, there are some flights each day down there. But again, this is not a large airport. Okay, let's go north. This is Townsville. Townsville is located in the tropical part of Queensland. It's about 1,300 kilometres north of Brisbane and about 350 kilometres south of Cairns, which is the last major city in Queensland with regards to northern aspect. During World War II, Townsville was home to the USA's largest overseas airbase, and it played a major effort in the war. In fact, Townsville still has a very large army base, and a lot of the economy is actually driven by the army base in that area. There's a number of major industries, including tourism, is developing inside there. Townsville is kind of close to the Great Barrier Reef, and a lot of people go to Townsville to actually visit it. There's also mining and manufacturing. If you're in the Cloudstaff office in Brisbane and you needed to get to a customer in Townsville, well, you could drive. It's going to take you about 16 hours, probably a bit longer by the time you stop and have breaks and those sorts of things. There is a train. It's about 26 hours. Most people would fly. It's an hour, 1 hour and 45 minutes. And most of the major airlines, Virgin, Queensland and Jetstar, operate flights from Brisbane to Townsville. Cairns. Well, Cairns is the most northerly large city that we have inside Queensland. It's over 1,700 kilometres away from Brisbane. It was created in 1876 as a mining outpost. Cairns has a very tropical climate with a dry and wet season and monsoons between November and March. It's a very popular tourism destination because literally it's only an hour and a half to the Great Barrier Reef by boat from Cairns. If you're in the Cloudstaff office and you needed to get to Cairns, well, you could drive. It's going to be at least 20 hours. A train would take about 32. Most people would fly. 2 hours and 20 minutes. Again, flights operated by Virgin Australia, Qantas and Jetstar. Toowoomba. Okay, everything that we've spoken to, or the cities that we've looked at so far, have been on the coast, or very close to the coast. Toowoomba is inland. It's about 130 kilometres west of Brisbane. It sits about 700 metres above sea level on an area called the Great Dividing Range. The Great Dividing Range is a large mountain range that runs from Queensland all the way down to Victoria. Toowoomba is dominant industries are manufacturing and healthcare and education. It's also the gateway to the Darling Downs. The Darling Downs is a large farming area of about 77,000 square kilometres, and there's lots of farming including cattle, cows, sheep and various crops like wheat and cotton. In fact, the Cloudstaff CEO went to boarding school in Toowoomba and grew up inside there. If you're in the Cloudstaff office and you wanted to get to a customer in Toowoomba, well, you drive. It's about 3 hours. There's no real trains and there is a very small local airport, but again, most people would just jump in a car and drive or rent a car from Brisbane and head up up the range to Toowoomba. Rockhampton. Rockhampton is 600 kilometres north of Brisbane. It's known to the locals as Rocky, and it's the beef capital of Australia. Again, west of Rockhampton, there's very large beef farming or cattle farming properties. And a lot of those cows are sent to Rockhampton for processing. Aside from beef, there's also a large tourism area at Rockhampton, and people find it a convenient stop when they're driving up the coast to visit Cairns and Townsville, etc. If you're in the Cloudstaff office and you needed to get to Rockhampton, well, you could drive. It's going to take about 8 hours. Again, you could get the train, but most business people wouldn't catch the train. Again, they would fly. It's 1 hour and 15 minutes. And again, Virgin Australia, Qantas and Jetstar, or operate multiple flights per day from Brisbane to Rockhampton. Mackay. Mackay, yet again, another city which is based near the coast. It lies approximately 900 kilometres north of Brisbane. It's in the subtropics and has a year-round average temperature of about 23 degrees. Mackay is known as the sugarcane capital of Australia. There are large amounts of sugarcane. In fact, we produce over 1/3 of Australia's sugarcane crop comes from the area around Mackay. Although there's increasingly a large amount of coal mining which is going on and is shipped out through various ports just south of Mackay. There's about 166,000 people in Mackay. Again, if you're at the Cloudstaff office and you need to get to Mackay, you could drive for 11 hours, 14 hours in the train, or alternatively, you jump on a Virgin, Qantas or Jetstar flight. It's going to take you about 1 hour and 25 minutes. Bundaberg, another favourite of the Cloudstaff CEO. He didn't grow up there, but he does like to drink Bundaberg rum. Bundaberg has a population of about 71,000, so it's a fairly small city. It's on the coast. It was founded in 1867, and its main industries again are sugarcane, tourism and vegetables and fruit. It's close to the southern end of the Barrier Reef, and as I said, one of its most famous products it produces is Bundaberg rum, enjoyed all over Australia and the world and the Cloudstaff CEO. Again, you're in the Cloudstaff office. You're going to drive 5 hours or 6 hours. By train, it's basically 6 or 7 hours. And again, 55 minutes on a Virgin or Qantas flight straight into Bundaberg. Hervey Bay. Hervey Bay is in the southeast Queensland and it's a resort city. It's been formed by a number of seaside villages which have joined together over the last 25 years. It's a little bit of a retirement village. People like to go there, retire and look at the beach. It is also very popular for whale watching. At certain periods of the year, the whales migrate from Antarctica up into the northern part of the oceans, and they tend to travel close to Hervey Bay. So you can go on a boat, go out and see the whales as they migrate north from Antarctica. If you're in the Cloudstaff office, again, you could drive, it's 4 or 5 hours, or train. Again, most business people wouldn't take the train. And there is a small airport, and it's about 45 minutes on a plane from Brisbane to Hervey Bay. Gladstone. Gladstone has a population of about 64,000. Again, it's on the coast. It has a very large port, and so it tends to be used for exporting aluminium. There's also gas and iron ore, which is exported out of the port of Gladstone. Again, if you're in Brisbane and needing to get to Gladstone, you would jump on an aeroplane. It's about 1 hour, or alternatively, you're going to drive. It'll be 7 hours, or catch a train about 8 or 9. Okay, so that was a quick preview of some of the cities here in Queensland. So again, Brisbane, Cairns, Sunshine Coast, Gold Coast, Gladstone, Rockhampton, Bundaberg, Hervey Bay, and of course my favourite, Toowoomba, because it's fun to pronounce. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you were able to pick up some of the pronunciations of those cities, and we'll be sending you through some more information on our next training videos very shortly. Have a great day, and we'll catch you online.